A single hug can make a woman fall for you or make her never want to see you again. And here is the terrifying part. Most men have absolutely no clue which one they are doing. A study from the Journal of Nonverbal Behavior found that humans form a physical comfort judgment about someone within the first 4 seconds of touch. 4 seconds. That means by the time your arms close around her, the verdict is already in. And if you're making any of the mistakes I'm about to walk you through today, she has already mentally filed you under never again. But here is what makes this even worse. The number one hugging mistake men make is why most men get this wrong. Something almost every single guy does, and he thinks it is actually charming. I am saving that one for last because when I tell you what it is going to change how you approach every woman from this point forward. So, let me set the stage here. You are at a party, a date, a casual meetup, maybe even just greeting a friend of a friend. The moment comes, she opens her arms, or you open yours, and the hug happens. Simple, right? Two humans wrapping arms around each other. Babies do it. Grandmothers do it. It should not be complicated, except it is because a hug is not just a hug. Not to a woman. To us, a hug is a full body scan of who you are. I know that sounds dramatic, but stay with me because the science backs this up completely. Dr. Dasher, the psychology behind first contact, Kellner, a psychology professor at UC Berkeley, has spent years studying touch and communication. His research shows that humans can communicate at least 8 distinct emotions through touch alone: gratitude, love, fear, disgust, sympathy, anger, happiness, and sadness. 8 emotions through one touch. So when you hug a woman, you are not just saying hello. You are broadcasting a message. And most men are accidentally broadcasting the wrong one. Now, I am not here to make anyone feel bad. I am here because once you understand what not to do, the right way becomes almost effortless. And honestly, some of these mistakes are going to make you laugh because you have either done the biggest hugging mistake them, or you have watched your buddy do them and cringe from across the room. But before I get into the full list, I need to tell you about something that happened to my friend Sarah, because her story is the perfect example of how one hug can change everything, and not in the way you would hope. Sarah had been talking to this guy for weeks, texting every day. Great chemistry online, funny, confident, everything she wanted on paper. They finally meet up for coffee. Conversation is flowing. He is even better in person. She is thinking, okay, this might actually be something. End of the date, they stand up and he goes in for the hug. And what happened in the next 3 seconds completely killed what your body language signals every ounce of attraction she had built over 2 weeks of conversation. She told me about it that night, and her exact words were, "I physically recoiled." What did he do? I will tell you exactly what he did, but not yet because his mistake is actually number 6 on my list. And I need you to hear the others first so you understand why that one is so devastating. Let us get into it. Mistake number 1, the dead fish. This is the hug where a man's arms go around a woman, but there is absolutely zero commitment behind it. His hands barely touch her back. His body stays rigid. There is a visible gap between his torso and hers, like he is trying to hug her through an invisible force field. Here is why this is such a respecting boundaries without losing attraction problem. When a woman receives this hug, the message she gets is not he is being respectful. The message is he does not actually want to touch me. And that creates an instant feeling of rejection, even if she was not romantically interested. Nobody wants to feel like hugging them is a chore. Research from Carnegie Mellon University found that meaningful physical touch, including hugs, reduces cortisol levels and increases feelings of social support. But the key word is meaningful. A limp, half-committed hug does not trigger that response. It actually does the opposite. It creates awkwardness and tension because both people can feel that something was off. But neither one says anything about it. So if you are going to hug someone, commit. You do not have to squeeze the life out of her. I will. The power of calm confidence. Get to that next. But your arms should actually make contact. Your hands should rest on her back, not hover like you are afraid she is made of porcelain. Be present in it. A half hug is worse than no hug at all. Mistake number 2, the human hydraulic press. Now we swing to the opposite extreme. This is the guy who hugs a woman like he is trying to merge their skeletal systems. His arms lock around her like a vice grip. She cannot breathe. Her feet might actually leave the ground, and he holds it and holds it while she is tapping his shoulder the way a fighter taps out in an MMA match. Look, I understand the intention. He is trying to communicate warmth, enthusiasm, maybe even affection. But what he is actually communicating is the shift that makes you stand out, that he has no awareness of her physical comfort. And that is a red flag the size of a billboard. A study published in Comprehensive Psychology found that the ideal hug duration is about 3 seconds. 3 seconds. That is long enough to feel warm and connected, short enough that nobody is filing a missing persons report for the woman trapped inside your arms. And here is the thing, physical strength in a hug does not translate to emotional connection. It translates to dominance. And when a woman feels physically overpowered in what should be a casual greeting, her nervous system does not think, oh, he is so strong and protective. Her nervous system thinks threat assessment. That is not the chemical reaction you want to trigger. Mistake number 3, the body slap. Oh, this one. This is the hug where a man wraps his arms around a woman and then pats her on the back like he is burping an infant. Pat, pat. Sometimes it is rapid fire, like he is sending a Morse code message that says, "This is platonic." I repeat, this is platonic. Now, is this the worst thing in the world? No. But if you are hugging a woman you are interested in, this is basically hanging a neon sign that says friend zone and then plugging it in yourself. Body language expert Vanessa Van Edwards has talked extensively about how the backpack during a hug is one of the most universally recognized signals of platonic intent. It is a self-soothing mechanism. The patter is actually trying to ease his own discomfort with the intimacy of the moment by breaking it up with rhythmic tapping. It is his subconscious saying, okay, this is close enough, time to bail. Women notice this. We always notice this. And if she was hoping for a moment of genuine warmth, what she got instead was a hug that felt like a teammate congratulating her after a company softball game. If you want to convey that you are comfortable, that you are confident, and that you actually enjoy being close to her, just let your hands rest still on her back. No percussion necessary. Mistake number 4, the GPS hands. All right. I need to talk about this one because it is the mistake that makes women tell their friends about you and not in the way you want. This is the hug where a man's hands start in an acceptable location, upper back, mid back, perfectly normal, and then they start traveling south slowly like his hands have a mind of their own, and that mind has a very specific destination. I should not have to explain why this is a problem, but here's why it is actually worse than most men realize. It is not just uncomfortable, it turns what should have been a warm human moment into something that feels calculated and predatory. And even if that was not the man's intent, even if his hands just drifted without him thinking about it, the impact is the same. A 2016 survey by the Associated Press found that 64% of women reported experiencing unwanted physical contact in social settings. And one of the most commonly cited examples was hands moving to inappropriate areas during what started as a normal hug. Keep your hands where they land. If they land on her upper back, they stay on her upper back. If they land on her mid-back, they stay on her mid-back. Your hands are not tourists. They do not need to see the sights. Mistake number 5, the sidearm deflector. This is the one-arm side hug. And context matters a lot here. So let me explain. A one-armed side hug is perfectly fine in certain situations. You are greeting a colleague at a work event. You are saying hi to someone you barely know. Totally appropriate. But here is where it goes wrong. When a woman opens up for a full hug, arms wide, body facing you, clear invitation, and a man gives her the one-arm side treatment, it feels like a demotion. It feels like she offered warmth and got a corporate handshake with extra steps. Psychologist Dr. Susan Krauss-Whitborn from the University of Massachusetts has written about how mismatched physical greetings create an immediate sense of social rejection. When someone offers a higher level of intimacy than they receive in return, the brain processes it similarly to verbal rejection. It stings. So read the room. If she is offering a full hug, match her energy. You are not too cool for a proper greeting. That detached one-arm maneuver does not make you look aloof and mysterious. It makes you look like you are afraid of her. Mistake number 6, the smell check. Remember Sarah, my friend from the beginning? The one who had 2 weeks of incredible chemistry with a guy, and then one hug destroyed all of it. Here is what happened. He hugged her. And it was actually a decent hug, good pressure, good duration, hands in the right place. But then right at the end, right before he pulled away, he buried his nose in her hair and took a long, audible inhale like he was sampling a wine at a vineyard, like he was a perfume critic taking notes for a review. And look, I know some men reading this are thinking, but women smell good. What is wrong with appreciating that? And sure, in an established relationship, in a moment of real intimacy, that can be a beautiful thing. But on a first meeting, when she does not know you well enough to be comfortable with that level of closeness, it is invasive. It crossed a boundary she did not even know she had until he crossed it. Sarah told me she felt like she was being inspected, not hugged, not welcomed. Inspected, and no amount of great texting could undo that feeling. They never went out again. The lesson here is not that you should never appreciate how someone smells. The lesson is that intimacy has a sequence and skipping steps makes the other person feel unsafe. A first hug should communicate warmth and respect. That is it. The deeper stuff comes later. After trust is built, after comfort is established, after she actually wants you that close. Mistake number 7, the hug that does not end. 3 seconds. I mentioned this earlier. 3 seconds is the sweet spot according to research, but some men treat a hug like it is a timeshare presentation. They just will not let you leave. The hug starts normally. 3 seconds pass. Fine. 5 seconds. Okay. Getting long. 7 seconds. She starts to pull away. He does not release. 10 seconds. She is now performing a series of subtle escape maneuvers. The lean back, the arm dropped the slight, and he is still holding on, eyes closed, completely unaware that this hug has entered hostage negotiation territory. Here is the psychology behind why this feels so unsettling. When someone initiates a physical separation and the other person does not reciprocate, it triggers a loss of control response in the brain. She no longer feels like a willing participant. She feels trapped. And that is a deeply uncomfortable feeling, no matter how innocent the hugger's intentions are. Always, and I mean always, let her be the one to set the release point. If you feel her start to pull back, you pull back immediately. No hesitation. This communicates something incredibly attractive, that you respect her autonomy, that you are aware of her signals, and that you are not desperate for contact. Those 3 things, by the way, are exactly what builds the kind of trust that leads to longer, more meaningful hugs later on. Mistake number 8, the premature hug. Timing is everything in life, and it is especially everything in physical contact. The premature hug is when a man goes in for a hug before any level of comfort has been established. They just met. They shook hands 5 minutes ago. They have exchanged maybe 12 sentences. And now he is swooping in for a full embrace, like they survived a war together. Not every greeting requires a hug. Not every woman wants to be hugged by someone she just met. And assuming that she does is not confident. It is presumptuous. A study from the University of Dundee found that premature physical contact from a stranger or near stranger increased reported feelings of discomfort by over 40% compared to when the same level of contact occurred after a period of conversational rapport building. In plain language, wait until the vibe says it is time. And when in doubt, let her initiate. If she opens her arms, go for it. If she extends a hand, shake her hand. If she gives a little wave from 2 feet away, wave back, match her level. This is not about being passive. It is about being perceptive. And perception is one of the most attractive qualities a person can have. Mistake number 9, the look away hug. This one is subtle but incredibly telling. This is the man who hugs a woman while his eyes are scanning the room. He is looking over her shoulder at the TV. He is making eye contact with someone across the bar. He is checking his phone over her back. Yes, I have actually seen this happen. The message this sends is devastating. You are not important enough for my full attention, even for 3 seconds. A hug should be a micro moment of genuine presence. When you hold someone, even briefly, your attention should be on that interaction. You do not need to stare deeply into her eyes during the hug. That would be a different kind of terrifying, but you should be mentally checked in. She can feel the difference. Trust me, she can always feel the difference. Mistake number 10, the narrated hug. I saved a funny one for near the end because after all these serious mistakes, we deserve a laugh. The narrated hug is when a man provides live commentary during the embrace. Oh, come here. There we go. Oh, you give good hugs. I needed this, sir. We have known each other for 11 minutes. Look, verbal affirmations are great in relationships, but when you narrate a hug with a woman you are not close with, it transforms a simple gesture into a performance. It makes her hyper aware of the physical contact in a way that feels loaded and heavy. Just hug. Let the silence be comfortable. The hug itself is the communication. It does not need subtitles. So here's where we land after all of this. A hug is one of the simplest, most natural forms of human connection on the planet. Babies do it instinctively before they can even speak. It predates language, predates culture, predates every social construct we have built. And yet, so many men turn it into a minefield because they are either overthinking it or not thinking about it at all. The through line connecting every single mistake I just covered is the same thing. A lack of awareness. Awareness of her comfort. Awareness of her signals. Awareness of the moment. And here is the beautiful irony. The moment you become aware of these things, the hug becomes effortless. You do not have to memorize a checklist. You do not have to rehearse in front of a mirror. You just have to pay attention to the person in front of you and respond to what she is actually communicating, not what you wish she was communicating. When a man gets this right, when his hug is warm without being overwhelming, confident without being aggressive, present without being performative, something shifts. She feels safe. She feels seen. And that feeling is so rare that she will remember it long after the hug ends. That is the power of doing something simple with genuine intention. Now, everything I just told you today is about the physical side of how men misread women. But here is what most men never figure out. And this is the part that actually determines whether she stays or walks away for good. Because you can master the perfect hug, say all the right things, do everything on the surface level correctly, and still lose her. Why? Because women are not loyal to what you do for them. They are loyal to one thing, one single thing. And when you understand what that one thing is, every interaction you have with women, hugs, conversations, relationships, suddenly makes sense in a way that nothing else has before. I broke it all down in the video on screen right now. It is called Women Don't Care What You Do for Them. They Are Loyal to One Thing Only, Female Psychology. And honestly, if today's video opened your eyes even a little, that one is going to feel like someone handed you the entire blueprint. Go watch it right now before it gets buried in your feed, because this is the kind of information that changes how women respond to you permanently.